the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. It's midnight in the Marshaverse, starring Marsha Warfield and her two sons, Stephen Roberts and Skillz Hudson, as the problem child.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Midnight in the Marshaverse. It's midnight. This is our special get-together time where those of us who live in the shadows, but at that moment between yesterday, today, and it's right now, this is where we are. We have a special show tonight. We usually hang out, have some fun, tell some jokes, ha ha ha. But tonight, I want to get right to it. I'm so excited. My guest this evening is one of my sisters in comedy, and she's one of, I think, two Black comedians to have won an Academy Award. She's one of the queens of comedy. She's had her own sitcom, if not more. She's just done every damn thing, and I'm so glad that she took time out of her schedule to come hang out with us. Would you please welcome Monique? Hey, girl, how you doing? Good morning.
Oh, Miss Marsha, how you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you for staying up late with me. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime. Yeah, I don't know if you know how we do things here. I usually start the show with some cannabis and cognac because I like cannabis and I like cognac.
Mhm.
And so if you would like to join me, I'm going to pour in my little pretty glass.
Mhm. I have
I'm
one
going
of
to
those.
pour. I think you'll appreciate this. This is Shay. This is Shay. I'm gonna pour a little Shay in your honor. Nah. And just enough, not too much, because I don't want to lose my senses. And for what you drinking?
Wine.
Ooh, what kind? You like a Chablis or a
It's
Chardonnay? Or...
Moscato.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay. Go ahead, girl.
I like it sweet.
Yeah, well, we gonna talk about liking it sweet, cause I got a son who likes to diss me about sweet shit. But before we do that, this you know what this is?
Yes.
Okay, Whoopi announced her cannabis line for women, and it has medical and recreational. And one of the gifts she gave at the launch was this Zen coin. It's a Whoop fam.
Come on now.
So we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and fill this puppy up. See that? And I'm gonna have a little, and I'm set for the evening. What you smoking?
That's all right. That's all
Okay,
right. See, it's 3 o'clock in the morning here, right?
okay,
And if I light up, it's gonna light up the house.
yeah.
And the grandbaby's still sleeping, so I don't want them to wake up and say, "What is that?"
What is that? And why we so tired? Uh, so okay, you ain't got no gummy or nothing.
I take it, Marsha. I'll be done in about 20 minutes. Okay.
Here's to you. Here's to us. Here's the friendship, and let's get started.
Let's get started.
My son, my problem child, who you'll meet in a little while. I don't like sweet cornbread. I'm old school. I'm from the when cornbread was savory and not that jiffy kind of stuff. He likes the jiffy with honey and all kind of stuff. And so when we were talking about it, he said, "Ma, don't nobody want none of that civil rights cornbread." And so I haven't forgiven him for that. Anyway, girl, let's just start at the beginning. How'd you get in this game?
Well, you know what? Before we start, I would like to say something to you.
Okay.
And I would like to say thank you because oftentimes we don't get a chance to thank the ones that open the doors for us. And normally when we do, they're gone. So I want to just take this time, sis, to say thank you so much for the ones you kicked in, the doors you kicked down, so that I can walk through a lot easier. I appreciate it.
I appreciate that so much. And let us both give a toast to mom. And you know who else? Ada Overton Walker. People don't know her. She was she was with Bert Williams And Bert Williams and her husband, George Walker, had a comedy team, Williams and Walker, Walker and Williams. And so she was the third in the trio. She never gets mentioned, but after her husband died, she took over his role
Mm.
and she became the second partner to Bert Williams. Then after that broke up, she went on to become a comedian in her own right and a dancer. She did an interpretive dance of Salome, which was so erotic, but so tasteful that she toured Europe and all around the country, making a living doing this dance, which can be cheapened, for because it is so erotic. And she just was always a lady, but was always sexy. And unfortunately, they all died a little too young. But
Mm.
talk about kicking open doors. She made the door
Come
and
on.
then kicked it in.
Come
So
on. Now there's another sister out
Mhm.
here, and I met this woman when I was doing the residency over in Vegas. And I felt kind of embarrassed that I didn't know who she was. And it's a woman named Sylvia Tremore Morrison.
Yes.
She
Okay.
was actually the first Black woman writer for Saturday Night Live, but they didn't give her the credit and put her down as a production assistant. And I said to her, I said, Miss Sylvia, I will make sure I mention your name as much as I can because we'll get hidden in history. Like
Right.
there's so many of us that just got dropped off or hidden that we don't know about, and she's still alive.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
I honor
And
that woman.
she in fact I was in Baltimore and she came to that show and we did Kim Whitley, another sister, was doing the Tom Joyner cruise and had us both on her show. Sylvia got a standing ovation. It was Sylvia, Alicia Cooper, me and Kim Whitley, and Sylvia was the one they stood up for. So, she is badass, and I hope to get her on this show uh, too, because I honor
Yes.
all of us, and I know how difficult it is. How you get, well, we always get undervalued. But tell me the Monique story, the opening. What made you want to do this?
From the beginning, I've always wanted to be famous because I saw the Jackson 5 and I saw the people screaming for them and chasing them. And I was like, I want that. As a little girl, I was like, that is so awesome. Right? And I still wanted Marsha. But I so appreciated watching that. And I was like, I want to be famous. But I just didn't know what I wanted to be famous doing. So I started out as a four-figured model. I did mannequin modeling in the stores.
Okay.
I was a reindeer, tinsel and bow. Okay, how you doing? I'm tinsel and I'm bow. Did all of that. And my brother tried to be the comedian. He went down to an open mic night, got real drunk, and got on stage, and they booed him. So when he came home, I'm like, yo, don't ever embarrass us like that. If I was on the stage, I would have said, and that's been over 35 years ago.
Okay.
And from that moment, the first time I got on stage, Marsha, and I felt that from a little girl, I felt that, yay, I got addicted to it.
Okay. Where was that?
Baltimore.
Baltimore. Okay. So I know that feeling because I call it a calling. And the first night I went on stage, I saw the light shine down and it was like, ah, and I never questioned it after that. I don't even know if I went back to work. I don't know what that was what I was going to do. And so that's what I did. And think about it now. We were all so young. We were all so young. I tell the story of George Wallace showing up at the Comedy Store in a purple Lincoln in 1977 and working with Mooney and all those guys, but we were all babies, you know. But the allure, the thing, I started telling jokes out the womb. I had a library card at like 5. And so the books I took out were cookbooks and biographies for kids and joke books. So I started collecting jokes at about 5. I thought the people on TV were magic because most of them were white, and I had no frame of reference as to that was a thing that someone from my neighborhood, my background, could do.
Mhm,
So it just didn't enter my mind
mhm.
until 1972.
Yeah, see, I had you guys. I had you. I had Thea Vidal. You know, I had Laura Hayes. I had those sisters that were out there. So when I was younger, coming up in it, I'm like, they made it. Like they made it. They made it to television. They made it to movies. They made it, and that's what I would enjoy to do. I would enjoy that part of it. So to be able to be in this game for 35 years,
Okay,
and it still feels new. Like
right?
when I walk out on those stages, it still feels like this is the first time because those butterflies and that feeling is still there. So I'm appreciative of the gift
Okay,
and don't ever want to take advantage of it. You
yeah.
know, like I'm appreciative of the gift that was given and never want to disappoint the universe with the gift.
All right, but when did you know that you were a comedian?
The day, I think the day I stood in the backyard with my brother and my father, and I said, if I went up on stage, I would have said. And that was about what is now called 30 minutes of material. I didn't know it was, I didn't know to call it material. I just
Yeah.
knew to say, I would have said. So he said, well, I dare you to go down there and do it. And I went down there and did it. And the people laughed and shouted. I'm like, this is it. Like this
Okay.
is that thing.
Was it an all black club, a mixed club, no, a white club?
Burt's was Burt's was an all white club, and they would have black headliners sprinkled in, but it was
Right.
predominantly an all white club. Hmm.
So you were doing what I call black comedy for white audiences.
The night I was there was a lot of us there, so they must have known this is going to be
Oh, they
black.
was waiting on you. Okay. But
Yeah,
then you do, because that's pretty fascinating that you said you were a comedian before you got on stage. I've heard of, like I walked on stage and I knew what I was doing. You was like, fuck that. I'm a comedian. If don't nobody know it.
if
But where did you go from there?
ooh, after Burke's, I started doing spot dates. You know, because in New York and New Jersey and DC, and there was a beautiful sister named Tina Graham.
Okay.
This is before Def Jam hit. And Tina Graham was one of those sisters you could call her up and say, Tina, I need to make some money.
Right.
And she would call you back with 10 dates. This tape paid $50. This one paid $75. This one paid $40. But she was that type of sister that everybody knew that was a black comedian. If you needed to get some work, you called Tina Graham. And Tina Graham laid it out for you.
I still want her to come on the show because I never met her. I don't even know if I was still working at the time, as I took a long time off. But I would like to talk to her because this history and the years, what years are you talking about?
The
Like when did you start?
the 90s, the early 90s.
Okay. So by that time, I was on my way out the game for a bit.
Okay.
The history is incomplete, especially for women. It's of all women. There are comedians that even other women don't know came before
Hmm.
us, came before me. So that history, and I like filling in those gaps, and the people that Michael Williams has done the show, and I've been trying to get other people who help build this infrastructure because it's a whole separate infrastructure. And here again, my themes are always constant. The chitlin circuit, when you expand it out from slavery on, it forms a mosaic of a whole and not parallel culture.
Hmm.
And those gaps, I want to meet the people. I want to meet the people who ran the boarding houses that had to accept all the black people. So you
Yes.
had preachers, you had musicians, you had horrors, you had doctors, and all in one place. And the stories they have to tell.
Hmm.
Duke Ellington in these boarding houses with Asa Philip Randolph. Man, what did they talk about? And what were their experiences? And we don't get to hear them. So sitting here chopping it up with you. So now you're on the road Here again, are you working predominantly Black clubs or white?
I've always worked Black clubs.
Okay.
And I was always so honored to work Black clubs. Like I would hear some Black comedians say, we got to go mainstream. We got to go main. And I would say, well, what is mainstream? And they wouldn't want to answer the question. Well, mainstream meant white.
Yes.
And I was always, Marsha, when I tell you, even now, after 35 years in, to be in front of my people, it is an honor. If other people want to come and get into the pool, you're welcome. But I
Right.
don't say I must do the white clubs. Now, I've done all the improvs. I've done them. And when I do the improvs and they put my name up on that thing, it's about 85% us, 15% everybody else. But I never felt like I had to fit in or cross over. I felt like if they want to come play with me, my playground is always open. But I'm not going to walk away from my playground to try to get accepted in your playground. I was
Yeah,
always comfortable.
we didn't have that option.
Right. Right.
We didn't have that option, even though we did work, on both sides of the track, as the saying goes. We just didn't have that option. And when I go on sets now, like I've been on movie sets where everybody's Black, and they take it for granted.
Mhm.
And I cry real tears because I know the feeling of walking in these spaces and there's nobody else who looks like me. When the comedy club started franchising, they were in strip malls around the country. I went around the country by myself, going into strip malls where I was the only Black person in town. If there were two Black people in town, I brought them with me. And so the experience of getting to know people and getting your fear alleviated, because
Mhm.
I'm just not going to be scared and go places where they ain't never seen nobody like me.
Mhm.
It was a character building kind of thing, but I don't take for granted that there are people who come up. There are Black kids who come up and they never have to watch mainstream nothing. They don't have to read mainstream books, news, social media, movies. I mean, that just did not exist. But I have the luxury of having grown up
Yes.
to see that all happen, you know.
But
So
that's why I think it's important that we pay homage to the ones that came before me, because you didn't have a choice.
mm,
You made it so that I could have a choice. I can have a choice where I want to perform. I can have a choice. So again, it's the sisters that put it in, that I'm sure there are sisters that I've never heard of, but y'all put it in so that again, our ride could be a lot easier. Now the next generation is up to us to make it even easier for them.
and
So that
what do you want to leave them?
to be fearless, to be unapologetic, to appreciate your gift and take care of it. But I think for me, the biggest thing is be fearless and be unapologetic for what you stand for, what you stand in, and you keep moving forward. So if one little girl can take away from this woman named Monique, I don't have to be scared. I don't have to bend over. I don't have to open my mouth up to do that. If I just stay fearless and stay committed to who I am, you'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, I'd like to add to that that fearless doesn't mean you don't have fear. It means that you do it anyway. You know,
Yes. Yes.
because there is, stage fright is real. The fear of not getting paid, the fear of, like I said, for me, walking into place where everybody got on boots.
Mhm.
And they're playing getting for getting around for and I'm doing stand up and I'm not going to apologize.
Yes.
So it's not like the fear doesn't exist. You don't have to feel like Superwoman
Mhm.
going in. Just do it anyway.
Just do it. I
Okay.
remember doing a show for the Klan. I didn't know they were the Klan, and they didn't know I was Black.
Okay.
But I needed that $75 to get back
That money green.
I was like, where do I stand? Where's my
Okay.
microphone? And after I did that show, they was like, well, come on, let's buy you a drink. I said, no, I appreciate it, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave. But that night, it was me and Earthquake. And that night, once you got finished, you felt like, okay, funny is funny. May they be white Ku Kluckers, may they be black down home, funny is just funny.
Right. Okay. So what's been the best experience of your career?
All of it. Because I can't just pick one thing. Like as a little girl, I said, one day I'm going to be famous. One day I want people to know my name. So to live in that, for me to pick one thing, I think it would be unfair. All of it's been the best. The highest highs and the lowest lows. It's all been the best. So I don't have one particular thing. But I'll say this. When I got the Parkers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Marsha, I was so green, and there's no class that they give you to say, this is how this goes, right?
This is where you stand.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Just like, go.
Mhm.
So I can remember I would always get these emails and say, if you're coming for the Parkers, park outside the gate. Well, I would park outside the gate, okay, hey, and walk across that parking lot
Okay.
every time until a brother named William Tripp was driving a car. He said, why are you walking across the parking lot? I said, oh, because they said park outside the gate. And he started laughing and he said, get in a golf cart, Monique. I want to show you something. And he drove me to my parking space
Okay.
with my name on it.
Your name on it.
That was a moment for me. Like
Okay.
I felt like I'm here. Like I'm here, I'm in it. So, and after that, everything was the best for me. Everything was the best.
So what was it like when they called your name as an Academy Award winner? You want to be famous in this business. That's the pinnacle. What was it like when they called your name?
When they called my name for the Oscar,
Mm-hmm.
I was, let me say this. I was grateful for any award they called my name for. But the Oscar wasn't the award as a little girl that I said when I grow up, I want to get that award. It was the NAACP Image Award. Because when I watched the Image Award, them people look like me.
Right.
When I watched the Oscars, they didn't look like me. So I wasn't like, oh, I gotta win an Oscar. Again, I appreciate every time they've called my name. But when the Image Award called my name, Marsha, that night I was just like, this is it.
Monique. Precious, based on the novel Flipped by Sapphire.
I love you back, baby.
Like when your people say, we appreciate you. We
Right.
think that you're the best in this field. That was incredible.
And see, that didn't exist
Right.
when I started. They were just starting. You know, I used to do the Soul Train Awards because Don Cornelius liked me. We both from Chicago, and so I did Soul Train and the Soul Train Awards, and he'd even had a Soul Train Comedy Awards, a Soul Train. Don would have an award. You know, we will give you awards. We will give best comic on a Tuesday night when ain't nobody there. And this is my trophy. But the whole concept of black excellence, shall we say, was different. It was, it was evolving in a whole
Yes.
different way, and so uh, it just didn't exist for me as a goal.
Hmm.
Only when it started, it existed for me as something to participate in, but not. I never thought they would call my name, and they didn't. They never called my name. And so that's still a goal because they ain't called my name for the Academy Awards either.
Hmm.
But I still have those goals. So when and I don't really want to go negative or anything like
I
that.
want
If
you
you
to go
tell
wherever you
me
want to go, baby.
you don't
Never.
want to talk about it, or if you want to ask me anything, how this is a conversation. This
Yes.
ain't really an interview. When things became uncomfortable,
Hmm.
exactly when was it, and what was it that affected you? Did it hurt you, or did it make you angry? Did it make you was it shocked? What happened?
Well, it made me disappointed. It made me angry. Um, and what happened was, Marsha, I simply said no. That's what happened. I simply said no, thank you.
You
So,
can't do that.
right, I'm not supposed
Didn't
to
they
do
teach you that? You have to assuage people's egos, and you live to serve, don't you?
not that.
Okay. Okay.
I think so. When I say fearless to that little girl who's not here yet, for me, it's those moments where you get tested and your integrity and your character, everything gets tested and it's saying, what will you do in this moment? So in that moment, my answer was simply no. I had finished my contractual obligation with Lee Daniels for the movie Precious. I was done. Everything I was supposed to do, I did. Now here comes Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry. Now they become executive producers on the movie, and now they want me to do more. Well, we need you to go to Cannes and promote the movie. It's like, guys, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to spend time with my family. I have babies. I have a husband. I'm going to take a break. I had the Monique show. I had the tour. So I'm going to take a break right now, and I'm going to say no, thank you. That's what happened. I simply
Okay.
said no, thank you. And from there, it got that I was difficult. I was hard to work with. And I'll say this too, to have Tyler Perry on tape saying, what I did to you was wrong, and I'm going to make it right.
Okay.
And to have our community still feel like, well, why would you tape him? Well, because if I didn't, and I just said that's what he said, my word wouldn't be believed. Now you hear his voice, and they still have a hard time with it. So for me, again, when I say fearless, I will not stop until they fix it. I will not stop until they fix it. And oftentimes, Marsha, you know how monsters get developed?
Mhm.
Because everybody's scared. Oh, just let it go. Don't say nothing. Well, now you have people that's tormenting people, raping people, and this goes on for decades until one day they get caught. So, what I say about Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry, I love my brother and sister. I love them, but they know one day you will get caught. That's just the law of the universe. And if you get caught in life or in death, the real stories will begin to come out as we see them doing now. When people leave here, now people feel comfortable enough to say, well, let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what they did to me. So at this point, I'm not angry at them. When it first happened, I was angry. I'm not angry. I have empathy for people like that because to be so powerful and have so much money and to still run from a person that is simply saying, just make it right. That's all.
Yeah, well, it's both sides to every story, and I appreciate hearing yours from you. But that's not the end all be all of Monique
No.
at all. So, and we all know that part, or think we know, because people will swear they know stuff that you don't know. Like, how the hell you know?
How you get to that?
But um what's again, I wanna know the best. Not, we focus so much on the worst. What are the best? Like, who Who just validated you? That just,
My husband,
okay.
who's been my best friend from 10th grade, who's seen the whole ride, the whole journey. It was my husband that got me through all of it, because he would say to me, who are you not to have a stumble or a roadblock? Who are you? So it's like, listen, we're going to deal with it. We're going to keep moving. And he would always say to me, Mama, eventually they'll catch up. Eventually they'll catch up. So it was my husband that held my hand when my knees buckled. And he said, you did it right. So
Okay.
we're going to get through this. This is temporary. You did it right. So to come out on the other side of it, I'm grateful that I had my husband to just walk me through it the whole time, the whole way. So my head wasn't down. My chin wasn't touching my chest. It was like, listen, it's a part of it. Let's keep moving. And I made it my business to read the stories of the sisters that came before me. I made it my business to read Hattie, Louise, Eartha, Georgia Gilmore. I made it my business to read those stories. And then you find out my story is not unique. It's been happening over and over and over and over. And in reading those stories, most of those women died broke, brokenhearted, and by themselves. So I'm grateful that my story is not going to be that.
Okay.
Just
That's
from
good.
reading
I
that.
mean, I understand. I overstand, because I was just telling my oldest son that part of my mission in life is to avenge all of the LGBTQIA people who lived in the closet in this business and never got to be themselves,
Mhm.
and to do whatever I can to bring awareness that I'm your sister, I'm your mother, I'm your auntie, I'm the auntie that brought the ice cream. So, you know, um, this stigma that we grow up with, in addition to being women, to
Mhm.
being Black. And that brings me to another question. As a woman, color notwithstanding, what's been your experience? What would you tell another woman just starting as a woman in this business?
I never had a plan B. I never had a fallback. If this don't work, make it your plan A and go. And don't put a time frame on it. Well, if it doesn't happen in 2 years, if it doesn't happen, if you are gifted and that's your gift, just keep going. Just keep going. Go to the $50 shows. Go to the $100 shows. And then those shows will then become $500, then $5,000, then $50,000. So it's like, just keep going.
Okay.
I'll hear some of the new comedians, and well, I want to be on TV, and it's like, well, if that is your main purpose, you're gonna have a hard ride. I want to be a comedian. Like I've always said, I'm a comedian and a talk show host. I've never taken the title as actress. I'm like, you guys,
Okay.
I didn't sign up for that. I appreciate it, but I am a stand-up comedian and a talk show host.
All right. Now, one of my idols in this business is Della Reese.
Mm.
I always loved Della Reese at a time when everybody was supposed to be docile and demure, especially if you were a Black woman. You were supposed to just lead with a sense of submission. I'm sorry, I don't mean to bother you. Is it a problem? Do you mind? Della ain't never did that. I'm here. And she wasn't uh, boisterous or, just loud. She was just Della. And you were going to recognize her humanity. And so, is there a person that does that for you
In comedy,
anywhere? Because Della was the comedian,
is there a person that does that for me?
a woman.
I
Monique's
would.
light is too bright to let her see beyond the spotlight. It's like, is it other people out there?
You know who I would have to say, and I've never physically met this woman, but through the stories, that is a woman that is teaching me just through the stories. And that's my husband's grandmother. Like
Okay.
the stories he tell me of this woman, He said, listen, she was the sweetest person you ever wanted to meet, but if you violated, she dealt with you. When I hear those kind of stories, it makes me stronger. It makes me put my shoulders back further. It makes me put my chin up, because there were people fighting for me that didn't even know they were fighting for me, but
Okay.
was fighting for me. So I would have to say Miss Minnie.
All right, well, let me ask you a question. Did she make sweet cornbread?
Oh, did she make sweet cornbread? Yes, she did.
I got the I can't
It
get
wasn't
it.
savory, it was sweet. It was that sugar
No,
filled.
because see, when you have sweet cornbread, then you make dressing and stuff, and then you got sweet dressing, and you then put some cranberry sauce and stuff on top of it, and it's just like dessert. It's like y'all eating corn cake. You need to put a sweet potato on it and some whipped cream and just have it for dessert.
It
It's,
depends on who's fixing it. It depends on who's fixing that sweet cornbread, honey.
see,
Some of it
we
tastes
was
like a piece
doing
of
good up until now, but now I don't know. We got to square off.
cake. You got a situation.
You've gone just a little too far.
Let me ask you this, Marsha. What made you walk away? Like, what made you, when you took that break, what was going on that made you say, I gotta step out for a second?
There was a combination of things. I was not. I had a lot of grief. My mother and my aunt had suffered long illnesses. They both died of cancer within 2 months of each other. And I had done as much as I could to take care of her, take care of them both. And then the Northridge earthquake
Mhm.
totaled my house, where my aunt was in it, uh, near and dying, and just going through that, and my mother's house and all that kind of stuff. And after they both passed away, I started um, reading the Bible, and because I had to deal with my being gay.
Mhm.
Okay, and I wasn't out. Nobody was out, and especially black women, nobody was out. And so I had to deal with that. So I read the Bible, and then I ended up founding my own religion. I founded the Church of Jesus because I believe that God is a mother who imbued us all with the ability to create life. And every religion starts with a creator.
Mhm.
And every one of us were created by a woman. And so we can all trace our line back to an original mother. We don't have to go beyond humanity to find the God. We can look in a mirror, we can look at our mothers, we can look at our sisters and daughters. And I think it's time we need to recognize that and appreciate that, because all of our troubles in not the Marshaverse, but in the other world,
Mhm.
all of them stem from a white-faced Jesus. You can't get away with the things that have been done around the world as far in the name of colonizing and stuff without having the authority of white-faced Jesus.
Mhm.
I ain't down with that. So my God is Josephine, the lady who created me from a spark in her body.
Mhm.
How, why, where, what Ain't nothing more powerful than that. So anyway, I'm going through all this stuff, relationships, the really weird relationships, and it was the 80s, 90s, and so there was substances and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And then my sister was living here in Vegas, and I came out to visit her. She had a son. She had two sons, one 16 or so at the time, and the other one was about 5. Single mother. We both broke. uh, and she has nobody to take care of her youngest son.
Mhm.
So I did. And the oldest boy went off to the service, and then I was pretty much auntie mom until he graduated from high school.
Wow.
And then I came back. So that was a long way to answer your simple question.
I asked, glad to be back?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most of the time, it's a whole different game than the one I left. You were talking about them $50 gigs and stuff. And I have to say, of all the accolades or anything people give me, the thing I'm most proud of is that I worked and helped get comedians paid because we wasn't getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
And the comedy strike that in '79 when that people were make fun of and all that kind of stuff, without that, you wouldn't be up there. You can make a living. You can't make a good living, but you can make a living from doing comedy clubs.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't possible. And so to have had any kind of hand in that, I'm happy to hear that people coming along had those options of being paid for doing what we would do for free.
Now you've hung out with the greats, Richard
Yeah.
Pryor, Paul Mooney. What
Yeah.
was that like? What was that like during that time? And did y'all know y'all would be the greats?
That's a hard question because we all had that same, we're going to be famous, we're going to change the world, we're going to, because changing the world was a big part of it. It wasn't just, I'm going to tell jokes. We're talking about at a time when it was Black Power time, and things were happening that had never happened before, as far as the number of the amount of representation for Black people. Wasn't always good representation because there were other motives involved. In fact, motives that were designed to make sure it wasn't good, and some was made to look like it was good, but when you think about it, wasn't that good at all. Anyway, but we were, Eric Monte broke Cooley High. It got produced when I started. That was Cooley High coming out was a big deal for us. One of my friends was in it, and so Shirley Hemphill, who doesn't get mentioned enough, Shirley Hemphill got What's Happening. And I remember the whole brouhaha about who accommodated and Eric Monte suing him and all that kind of stuff. But then at the same time, Shirley got this gig and it's taken off, and so all of these things were important. We had a sense of commitment, a sense of we got, if you're not going to attack this, at least don't hurt it. Don't hurt it. And so we were very much aware of that. And Paul, of course, Mooney, one of the first people I met when I got to Los Angeles. Spoon was working the door at the Comedy Store. Everybody came through. Richard was working on Bicentennial Nigger. And he got his show in 1977. And Mooney cast us all. And no, at the time we didn't know. We knew we were in the presence of greatness. We all worshipped Richard Pryor because he was praiseworthy. I mean, he was the man, and he broke the barrier. They gave us voice. They gave us our voice. That didn't make us code switch.
Right.
To get a job.
Richard
was the one who gave us our voice.
I have stories with Richard Pryor, Shirley Hemphill, and Paul Mooney.
Okay.
When I was in the 3rd grade, I went to a school called Woodmore Elementary School, and Shirley Hemphill came to that school. Now, it was a predominantly white school, right? And I'm this little fat girl in the 3rd grade sitting on the gym floor with my legs crossed. And Marsha, that woman looked right at me and said, "Do you know you can be anything you want to be?" I'm in the 3rd grade. I never forgot that. Like, when that woman said that to me, I'm like, I can be anything I want to be. Then I met Richard Pryor at the Kings of Comedy movie premiere. And this is when the MS had really gotten him and he was in the chair.
Yeah.
And someone came over to me and said, "Richard Pryor wants to talk to you." So I'm walking over like a kid because I am a kid
Yeah.
compared to Richard Pryor. So when I got over there, he grabbed my arm and he pulled me down to him. And he said, "Don't you ever change." And I said, "Thank you, Mr. Pryor."
Okay.
And Paul Mooney comes to a show one night. I'm in Pasadena. Paul Mooney comes, and Marsha, when I'm looking at him, like the first 10 minutes, he cracking up. Then after that, he just stopped laughing. And he just sat there. So when the show was over, he came up to the dressing room and he said, "I need you to know something." He said, "We call you Mrs. Richard Pryor." I was so honored and so blown away. And I feel like to be in the presence of those people and their greatness. And they picked this little fat girl from Baltimore to whisper those sweet nothings in my ear. I'm forever grateful, forever grateful. So when Shirley Hemphill did that, I always felt like if I ever get in a position, I'm going to do that too.
Okay, but don't worry about being in position. You can do that in the grocery store. You can do that anywhere. Anywhere. You ain't got to know him. You just, baby, do you know who you are?
But
Look at you.
you don't think like that. Like,
But that's
as-
my goal. My goal is for us to start thinking, to start celebrating. You know, everything I see is doom and gloom or conflict. All the shows, your mama and this, that, and the other, and nobody says, "Do y'all know who the fuck you are?
right. Well,
Do you know who you are?"
those are intentional. Those shows
Oh,
like that, it's all intentional. Now, as a 57-year-old woman, I understand to approach wherever you are to say, "Hey, baby, let me talk to you. Let me." And then you find out sometime in talking to them, they filling you up as you filling them up. It
yeah.
goes both ways. There was a young lady that came to one of the shows not too long ago. And she kept screaming, "Monique, Monique, I love you." Till I had to say, "Bitch, do you see me on the stage? Bitch, I love you back." So we having a good time. So I said to my assistant, "Make sure she comes back after the show." Now, when this baby comes back to me, you can see everything on her but the crack of her behind. And we went in the room to talk. And I said, "Don't you know you so much more than that?" And she bust out crying and said, "I just needed to hear it." She said, "I just needed to hear it." So with those kind of things, am I my sister's keeper? Yes, I am.
Absolutely.
All day
Absolutely,
long.
because there's so much to celebrate. And we've been talking and could keep on talking. We could do a marathon, but my sons, my two sons, my comedy sons, are in the background having a fit. So I want you to meet them,
Yes.
and I know they really want to meet you. Let me start with my problem child. First, they're going to have a little snippet of a clip is going to play.
On the road with skills just got recognized here in the hallway, well, the tunnel of Union Station. This guy that said he remembered me from like over 15 years ago when I used to stay in West Covina as a new comedian when I moved out here, man. I'm gonna be honest, I ain't remember his face that much. I'm getting older. I smoke a lot of weed.
He's working with Lunel, and now he's working with Kim, who is filling in for Lunel. But he will get into that later. This is Skillz Hudson. Skills.
Oh man,
Say hi to Monique.
hello, Monique.
Hey,
Over here.
Skills.
Man, I enjoyed the whole time. Ma, you know me, but I enjoyed the whole time enjoying. For one thing, I'm a big fan before I even start doing stand up of your work. And then, when I got into business and then just hearing what you were saying about like with Tina Graham, right? When I first started in the business 17 years ago, and I remember after a year, I started because I moved to Chicago. I'm over here sound nervous. Look, I moved moved from Chicago to LA, started LA. Rodney Perry, he seen how I used to grind. He was like, if you want to go to New York, I'll put you in tune with Tina Graham. And hit up Tina Graham. She didn't know me from nobody. Put me on so many shows, the $50, $25, $35. Then I met Barbara Carlisle. She helped me out with shows and stuff like that. And then to hit a part that you said about not having a plan B, that just pumped me up even more because that's how I always, when I started in this game, my family, they was against it and everything. Like, you need to have a job while you trying to do this. I ain't got no kids. I ain't married. If I got to sleep outside, I can sleep outside. I can do that. You know what I'm saying? But not having a plan B my whole career, I haven't been on TV, but a couple of appearances, but it's always been stand up, and I'm thankful.
Yes.
Okay, but now breathe. So
Okay.
I can introduce your brother. He's waiting to come out right now. But we both appreciate your enthusiasm. I'm sure it transmits over wires. This is my oldest son. He looks just like me, and he's a stand-up. I met him. He was working like one of the first gigs he ever did, opening for Rain Pryor. She was doing her fried chicken and latkes show. And now he's been doing stand-up. We work together. We're gonna be in Pasadena this weekend. But he likes to rant.
Hello, I'm Stephen Roberts, and this is my weekly rant. Today we're going to talk about toilet paper. That's right, toilet paper. You see this? This is wrong. This is wrong. Where is it coming from? Where's the toilet paper? Oh, over here. You gotta search, like, where is it? I can't find it. I can't find it. Where is it? Oh, it's under here. Wrong. We need easily accessed cascade of tissue coming down over the top where all you do is go, oh, there it is. And if you can't find it, you just roll it till it just naturally comes down. It doesn't do that when it's underneath. Don't try to argue that. It doesn't. It goes, what? Just like that. People think this way is classier. It's not. Nobody needs peekaboo tissue. Like, where is it? If you do it like that, you're just like, oh, I can't find it. I can't find it. I can't find it. People say putting the tissue like that is classier because it's less common. Yeah, it's less common because it's dumb. And do you want to be a top tissue user or a bottom tissue user? Toilet paper is for your bottom. It's not to be a bottom. You should be a top tissue user. If anybody puts the tissue in this way, I change it. I do. I don't even care. I'll just put it right back the way it's supposed to go. Better. Now I can relax and use the toilet because that's how it's supposed to be. I don't even care if I'm at a hotel or a public restaurant or anything. A public restroom, I will change that toilet paper. I will. Even if it's locked in like a case where they have a lock, which I've never understood that, but they're locking the toilet paper in so you have to have it that way, I'll pick it. I'll pick it and change it. And this is correct.
And I'd like you to say hello.
I will do it.
Stephen Roberts.
Hey, Stephen.
Ooh, the light's really bright, isn't it? Sorry.
Well,
Hi.
you're really right.
I know. I'm a reflecting pad. Hi, Monique.
Hi, baby.
I am so honored. Let me just say it like this. I have been able to meet some of the biggest heroes of mine because of my comedy mom, Marsha. And I just want to thank you so much for saying what you said to her, because I don't think she hears it enough about the path that she carved and that she carved out for all of us, really and truly, going back to the store and everything else. But I just want to say thank you. I'm such a huge fan of yours. I remember I got my paycheck and I bought your book, Skinny Bitches Are Evil. And I loved My Name is Nique. I was just.
Thank you, baby.
You know, y'all just stop being able to talk. Y'all usually talk a lot. But all I hear is Monique, what are
Well,
you
that's
doing to these people?
I was like that with you too when I first met you.
Yeah.
So
Nah,
you've gotten used to us. That's all.
yeah, yeah, with nothing. Like, I was like, drop me off at the corner, kind of thing. And Skillz tell me, you drive like this?
Monique,
Yes, baby.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
That
Okay.
is, everything has a price. Everything has a price. Um, and some we can afford and some we cannot. What what is what have you had to sacrifice to be where you are?
That's a great question, Stephen. One of the biggest sacrifices was my oldest son because I wanted to be famous and I wanted to be wherever I needed to be to do that. So there was a lot of times I was on the road. I was doing all those things to do to get to this place right now. So one of the biggest sacrifices was just the nurturing of my oldest son.
Do
Yeah.
you spend any time beating yourself up about that? Have you come to grips with that
Oh yeah,
and accepted that
I have.
everybody does the best they can and ain't no perfect people?
That's all. That's it. I've come to grips with that because you can't have it all. And who am I to have it all? And for us, when you have a man in this business, right, or in entertainment, whatever he does, and he has to travel and he has to go away, that's never questioned. It's like, oh, daddy had to go to, and it's never questioned. When it comes to us, it's like, well, how could you? And why did you? And it's a different standard. So
Right.
I've accepted that, Marsha, a long time ago. It's like I had to do what I had to do to get us here.
Okay. I can understand that. Skillz, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. But my question is nowhere near as hard as Steve. Mine is,
But that's we expect that because you're you and he's he, and you always do that. So
okay,
come on with it.
that's good. That's good to know. Hey, so what is your favorite state to perform in?
All of them.
Okay.
Like, for me, any stage I walk on, I'm grateful. So I never had one where it's like, oh, this one or that one. All of them have been great for me because all of them is part of the journey. All of them is part of the process of what we do. So I never got caught up in, oh, this state over that state. Now you can go to different states and the reception can be like when you play down south, baby, listen, it is nothing like playing down south, but it's nothing like playing Pasadena. And it's nothing like, so everybody has their thing wherever you go. What I appreciate is just the consistency of the love that's given both ways.
Okay. I have a follow-up for that. That's a great question. And that's a great answer. So where were you and when did you stop thinking all or nothing? Because what you're talking about is not black, it's not white, it's gray, right? So you can have it all kind of thinking. It's like it all matters.
Mhm.
When was there a time in your life where that happened, where you
Yes.
had that? Tell me.
I worked at MCI and I had no more time off. I used all my time. And there was a weekend gig, but it wouldn't put me back until like Monday afternoon. And I knew in that moment, you're going to either sink or swim because you've got to walk away. And I can remember a guy named Alan Pastel at MCI. And I went into his office and I said, Alan, I said, I got to go. And this is it. Like, I'm going to go get it. And that brother paid me for 2 more weeks. He said, Monique, go be a star. And he paid me for 2 more weeks. But it was at that moment that I said, I got to walk away and I got to really go get it.
Well, girl, I am so happy to have spent time with you. I want to pull my ear and sing. I'm so glad we had this time. But I don't want to keep you up too late. No, this is a school night, and this is not the normal time. I just have this thing where, my whole life, I'm a night owl, and people expect me to get up in the morning because they like daytime. And then I have to pretend to be like I like the happy morning people. I can't stand happy morning people. Like, hello, get out my face. I need to be going to bed now. So I figured if I had a show, I would do a show where we could chill out at night, and then maybe they have to stay up and
Yes.
be happy at night now.
When I saw the time come over, I said, wait a minute. Whose time? What time? But it's Marsha Warfield. And to get the opportunity to sit down with you, sister, and be able to talk and have a conversation with you, that's an honor for me. So I didn't care what time it was. I was going to get my ass up, okay, and come and sit with my sister and her babies.
Well, thank you. And you have, where are you going to be? What are you doing in the near future that people can look out for and see you?
We're on the Cat Williams Heaven on Earth tour. I'm hosting.
Okay.
And it is one of the best tours, Marsha, that I've ever been on in my entire career. It's so much love on that tour. And I will say this about Cat Williams. Cat Williams is making history, especially with Black female comedians. Because normally when you have a comedy show and it's a male headliner, there's normally one Black female on that show or none whatsoever, okay? There's 5 Black women on the Cat Williams Heaven on Earth tour.
Okay.
So when I see that, I'm like, brother, you're doing something different because it normally doesn't happen like this. You have Little Mo, Lady of Rage, Corey B, Melanie Camacho, and I'm hosting. It is so beautiful to see all of those sisters in those arenas getting that shine. It is just hands down. So y'all check your schedules for the Cat Williams Heaven on Earth tour and see when we're in your city.
All right. And one last question just came to me. The world is going crazy with the politics and everything. Give this audience some hope.
Focus on your village. Focus on your village inside of your home. If we start concentrating on all of the stuff that's going on, we'll start going crazy. So now is the time to focus in on your village. That's it.
All right. Well, you heard it from the woman herself. Like I said, there were so many things we didn't get to, so many things we could still talk about, but I've taken up enough of your time and I appreciate every moment of it. And we would like to thank you for being here. We're going to let you go, and then we're going to close this thing out on a high note. We're just going to float our way on out.
Float on.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all, my babies.
All the best to you.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Marsha.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night, my loves.
Hey, so what was that? How was that? Silly. Y'all so crazy. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah.
She's great. She's so great. But I wasn't surprised.
No. Well, I just wanted to talk to her. I had never met her. How you read about people and have impressions and all that kind of stuff. I'm old enough, been around enough to take all that stuff with a grain of salt. So I just wanted to know who, as another one comedian to another. And I think I enjoyed getting to know her. I think we're friends now, so I'm happy about all of that. We gotta get out of here because ain't nothing else to do.
Well, can I say something? I want to say something. One of the things that you and Monique have in common are you are so incredibly smart. You are you operate in an intellect so far above most of us, and that's the best conversation I've ever heard you had on this show. But it's because, and that's not to say anything about the other guests negative. It's just that you guys are vibrating on such a higher level. It's no wonder and no surprise you are where you are, and you are revered the way you are. And to listen to you two talk is just, it's mind blowing. It really is.
Well, thank you. That's nice of you.
Stephen said, I even appreciate it more because I vibrate at such a low level.
Oh, you're so silly. And I want to take this time to make sure that we get a shot of your photo. What do you call your cover photo on your social media? Because I want everybody to see you. I want everybody to see your thinker pose.
Oh, they're talking about skills.
Yeah. And so, what made you do that?
I was just
You
No, don't.
realize that's going.
You like. I was just like everybody might have that. Ain't nobody else had that thought. Ain't nobody. What made you do that?
You
well,
realize
just
that's going to go in people's spank banks, right? That there are now people who are enjoying themselves with your image. You
Oh,
realize that,
there was
right?
people doing that when he take his hat off. It's some. Ooh.
hey, hey, I'm a motivator.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
okay.
Well,
I'll
I'm going to add pictures of you both when you were toddlers in my life and were
Oh,
not wearing shirts.
oh, good. Thanks a
So
lot.
this weekend, we're going to be in Pasadena at the Ice House, and we're going to be raising money for the victims of the Eaton fire, and the charity is Letters from Altadena. It's the same charity that does Letters to Santa, and then they try to fulfill what's written, what people really need. And so I think it's a wonderful way to get real assistance to real people. I'm going to donate my money. I ask people coming to the show to, understand that the more tickets we sell, the more money we can raise for them. You have an opportunity to raise more, donate more if you want directly to them. You don't have to do it through us. Just try to help the area of Altadena. It's important, and it's important that they know more than anything else that they are important, that they matter, that people care about them. And it's not just about the high dollar zip codes. It's also about people who have built families and community and have lost and faced devastating loss. So also, it's going to be funny. It's going to not just be funny because I've always been an activist kind of It's going to be real. We're gonna talk about some shit, and I got a lot of stuff to say, but it's gonna be fun, and I appreciate you all for listening and hanging out with us. Monique, we love you. Thank you. Come back again anytime. Besides the Ice House, where you guys gonna be?
this Saturday I'll be at the Ice House with y'all. Oh,
Thank
oh,
you so much. No, that's it. That's it. Thank you so much. Ice House Skills. He will have on pants. That's all I can promise you. Steven.
Friday. Oh, so, my, can I
No,
say
go
that?
ahead. Just jump in anytime you feel like it. Say whatever you want. It's your world.
Friday I'll be at Jimmy Kimmel's for Show Those Skills Fridays, Valentine edition. Ooh.
Well, okay. Well, on that note, Steven, whose edition you gonna be on?
Come see me at Laugh Factory Reno, February 27th through March 3rd.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out with us all night. Remember Black History museums. This is the DuSable Museum in Chicago. Remember to visit, donate, support these important places to keep our history alive. And come back again. Have a drink with us. Have a smoke if that's what you like. Is that hot sauce?
Yes,
You drinking hot sauce?
I'm putting it on my sweet cornbread.
Fuck out of here. Anyway, thank you so much. And y'all be good. Have a good evening. Take care. Good night. Marsha.
can do it like that. Her own style, no one can wear that hat. Hey, don't you know that the queen is back? She's back, she's back. She withstands the test of time. When it comes to strength, she comes to mind. Knock her down, she gets back up again.